Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, where no one is ever late to the party, are they, Sean?
No. We're all the semi-finalists there.
Yes.
Are you here?
I'm here.
Good.
Are you here?
Yeah.
Good job. Quarterfinals were fun, weren't they?
Yeah, really fun, but super one-sided as well in that last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, because the first three we were kind of spoilt, weren't we? Because there was some awesome games, some great comebacks from J-Dong. PVTs were epic, and then the last one was a bit of a Artosis bop.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate there. There's a lot of discussion going back and forth between Protoss players and Terran players on if it's Protoss that's dominant right now, if Terran can do better. But whatever the case, it was a 3-0. But even, I mean, whichever way we look at it, Hero's a great player. He's going to do really well. And I think he's going to do very well in the semi-final as well.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the brackets and update you as to if you've just come in and joined us for the Intel Extreme Masters, where the heck have you been? Because that's not very cool of you. But don't worry, got your backs because we've got all the results for you. So hopefully we can bring the bracket up in a moment and show you all of the quarterfinal results and how all of these players got through to the semi-finals. Polt and Rain is our first matchup in the semi-final, and then J-Dong takes on Hero. So we'll concentrate on Polt versus Rain. To start with, Rain has dropped a sum total of 1 map at the whole of the Intel Extreme Masters ever. Well, over the last 4 days. Yeah. And he has looked, I mean, apart from the birthday gift of 1 map to his friend Jack G on his birthday, he has looked flawless. I mean, I called him Rain the Robot earlier because he's literally like an automaton. He just seems to go, yeah. I'm doing this, and this. And he's super silky smooth with his Protoss play as well.
I think one of the best things about Rain is that, so all the rage recently is a Blink play, Dark Templar play, Oracle play, but the way that Rain made his name was off straight-up standard games. So the ability to be able to do both excellently, and he showed that against Jack-Chi. One time it's a Blink all-in, the next time it's a very regular style of play. So he's a very dangerous opponent, and I would go as far as say is he's almost as double dangerous as Classic was against Polt earlier.
Do you think I mean, we've had periods of dominance in StarCraft 2, but nothing that's really lasted massively long, especially in Heart of the Swarm anyway. We had Innovation kind of WCS Season 1, cool, and then Season 2, well, Bomber ended up winning that, but there was also a lot of stuff around Polt doing well, J-Dong coming back to form. Season 3, suddenly Deer comes out of nowhere. I think he was like 2,278th on the WCS Challenger list the month before. Yeah. Comes out of nowhere and dominates. And then we haven't had periods of domination by any one player, but Rain seems to be the man, I think anyway, that we could see him dominate for a little while.
Yeah, definitely, especially as just a Protoss player himself. There's not too many people that you can say that, yeah, I think someone else is a better Protoss player. Rain has always been up there as top 3 Protoss player, no matter which way you look at it. Sure, he loses some games here and there, but he immediately bounces back. When it comes to consistency, definitely up there as a top Protoss player. Consistency internationally, welcome to 2014.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see him outside of Korea. Great to see him come and compete at the Intel Extreme Masters. I asked Hero a little cheekily earlier, is he thinking about Katowice? And he kind of, he was like, oh, I thought it was points. And then I found out I had to come and, win this tournament. Oh, well, come and win the tournament then. Rain is in a similar sort of position because he found out quite late and he was like, oh, so I have to finish top 2 and then I go, oh, well, that's easy. I'll come along to Cologne then. No problem at all. But it's great to see him outside of Pro League. It's great to see him in Europe as well. If he wins this, and he is the favourite still, do we see him more often, do you think, outside of Korea? Or do you think this is just a focus on the World Final for now at Katowice?
I think more so for a lot of these Pro League players, they're restricted a lot by their teams. And I think that the team's overall main focus is Pro League. It's a Korean, just a Korean ethical thing that they want to win Pro League. That's what they've been built around for over the years. But when something comes along where you can win $100,000, why wouldn't you want to send out a player? Whether we'll see Rain travel on SKT to come out to international tournaments to win a $25,000 tournament, 10,000 first place, I'm not sure if they'll want to bring him away from Pro League to do that. But for this, and if there's any other tournaments along similar lines, then I think, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's move on from Rain and talk a little bit about Polt first. Hearing in my ear, we do have a little bit of time, so that's good. He's like, I always want to crown him king of the Terrans right now because he seems to be one of the few, not the only, but one of the few who is able to figure out Blink Stalkers all in, which he definitely seems to have figured out, and he seems to be able to cope with almost any Blink play. Seems relative. I mean, he said it himself. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I'm okay with it. I know I definitely am not comfortable with it, and I don't know many Terrans that would actually own up to saying, yeah, Blink all-ins, no problem.
Yeah,
Why?
he does.
I mean, how is he like that? And I mean, effectively what we're saying here is it the Terran Protoss thing again, or is it actually Polt just going, doesn't exist, I'm just going to do what I think's right, and I'm going to be offensive instead of just sitting back and building barracks all the time?
He has a couple of tricks. On Yonsu, we've seen his tricks come out a couple of times, and I'm sure that he doesn't feel that bad on the map. I actually managed to speak to him earlier. He said, Yonsu, yeah, it can be difficult, but I've managed to pull tricks out, and I'm still comfortable on that map against it. The other big map is Heavy Rain, where he said it's 50-50. Sometimes it goes well for him, sometimes it doesn't, which we've actually seen in the tournament itself. And then the worst map for him is Daedalus Point, which he vetoes out usually against Blink players. But the thing is, I spoke to him as well coming up into the game against Rain, is he's not that worried against Blink play because it's Rain. Classic's someone completely different who was not afraid to use these type of plays. But Rain, on the other hand, decided to think that isn't his normal game sense. So Paul actually said, as much as I was scared of Classic, there is a bit of comfort knowing that I'm going to play a more standard game. And when he does play these standard games, we've seen him absolutely shine.
Yeah, a long macro game much more suits him, and he's more likely to get that against Rain, but he's already beaten Classic, who was potentially, for him anyway, the harder player. Just one last thing with Polt, and I'm looking ahead a little bit, and maybe just speculating, but the problem with his map choices is if he gets to the final, it's best of 7. And he's not good on 3 of the 7 maps. That's not good, right?
I'm pretty sure Paul, knowing his previous results, is wishing Jadon can beat Hero.
And on that note, we'll end our discussions, I think. That second semi-final is coming up straight after this one. Don't forget, you can still vote on the MVP award, of course, over on facebook.com/IEM. I must apologise as well, because I'm doing a lot of that lately. I did say that you could vote on anyone. There is actually a poll up with a list of the players in the poll. You can only vote on those ones. But do so now, or do so before the end of the second semi-final, because if you don't do that, you won't get a vote. We will be announcing the winner of the MVP, the sick nerd baller of Cologne, just before the grand final. Time now to go for our first semi-final of the day. The winner of this not only gets into the grand final here in Cologne, but guarantees a spot in the winner-takes-all $100,000 World Championship final. That's what's on the line right now. It's time to go over to your commentary team. Enjoy your semi-final. This one's going to be a cracker, I can feel it. It's Rain versus Polt.
Thanks very much. All right, well, our first round of 4 series now on the way. A cracker, man. An absolute cracker. Fireworks are going to go off. We're going to have those Catherine wheels spinning around and everything. This is going to be crazy as we have Polt versus Rain. 2 players that are dispatched of their previous, opponents that were the same race very, very well. It was close. It was a close call. All the games were close calls apart from that last one. But now we have Polt versus Rain. I'm looking forward to this, Todd.
Yeah, me too. Polt, in this tournament, he's had a lot more versus Protoss games, which, as much as Rain probably watched those, and I'm sure he did, when I say probably, he's had a lot more warm-up, basically, versus the race. Then again, a lot of the time, you're not going to be happy as a pro gamer just because you reveal more of your builds. But it really felt like Polt, he was that guy who has his one go-to builds. He goes back to a lot, which was the expansion with the reactor and then 2 additional barracks being added on and lots of bioforces. So on the other hand, you have Polt that has been playing this style, and on the other hand, you have Rain that has played a single best of 5 versus Terran versus Jack G, in which his go-to build has actually been the exact same in both games that he used to win with it, which was the Colossus plus Blink into a 3rd base, even if it's late, he doesn't care. Yep. He gets enough probes, he makes sure he gets it up, he makes sure he doesn't die and doesn't take any damage from those Medivac drops. At which point, he just seems unstoppable. He defends everything. He's like the Jaelong version of Protoss. Anything you throw at him, he's going to be ready and defend with this Colossi and a good Blink play.
Yeah.
So this is going to be basically the build of Polt versus the build of Rain here for me, in my opinion. Offense versus defense a lot of the time. I'm sure Polt is going to try to do the same thing he did before with the army split up in half a lot of the time to try and attack left and right, to try spread his opponent thin. But he's up against the best Protoss defensor in the world.
Yes.
Maybe after Hazuops, but probably ahead.
Well, I mean, right now, since November, he's 23-2 in maps against Terran is Rain.
Not bad.
Yeah, and considering a lot of casters, we do use this term quite often. It's like, if anybody can do it, it's this guy. But it actually is Polt. It actually is Polt. If anybody can beat Rain, it's this guy, because he has some of the best TVP in the world right now. He's shown us it throughout this tournament, and it looks absolutely blistering. But still, going up against a player like Rain, who plays so stable, so strong, Polt's best friend is going to be the scan and trying to catch hold of those observers.
Rain has shown that he does not always play the same style, though. He's used some nice blink play himself, and with the recent success of Hero vs Innovation here, who played more of a standard Protoss versus Terran, where you try to trick your opponent from early on with some 1-base or 2-base play, and from there you increase your lead early on, and you're able to go into a macro game with an advantage. Rain could choose to play a little bit differently, at least more often than before. Before, it really felt like it was like 3 games out of 4, he will go for his go-to build, at least 2 games out of 3. But if he was to play very differently here, Apollo did mention that Polt was not really expecting any kind of very aggressive blink play here out of him. And I didn't pay attention if he had removed Daedalus, actually, versus Rain, which he did mention is the one map he wouldn't feel very comfortable against most Protosses with because of that blink play.
Well, we'll find out in a bit. Frost is our first map here, as we have now Polt on screen. And as we said before, his TVP is super, super strong. We've seen it throughout this tournament, looking fantastic. And then we have arguably one of the favorites of the tournament. It's Rain.
This is my wish list, man. I want to see Rain's build versus Polt's build right away in the first map here on Frost.
Just the standard versus the standard, and then we have one of the best games
of it.
Yeah. That would be fantastic.
Actually, it's a best of 5, but getting a little bit ahead of
You can have an extra 2 if you really want. I mean, you can just ask them to keep playing, and it's like, wait a minute, we're behind schedule, guys. Let's wrap this up quickly. But no, Polt is going to be going on to this match. He's actually taking his time getting into this lobby here. Just contemplating his thoughts, I guess, and making sure that he's stable. He faces... It's like, in the round of 8... he had to play against Classic, which was level 1 of SKT Protosses. And now he has to play against level 10 of SKT Protosses because Rain's massive.
What's Sparting's level then?
8 or 9.
If he's listening right now, he's hating you.
11. No, parting. Yeah, long story short, they have really, really good Protoss.
Yeah, but this is such a strain too, to have such good Protosses on your team. When you have to prepare for a match like this, you can consult them, they're going to give you advice. You can choose to listen to it or not. And that's going to be the question here too. Because Rain, he has his own style, which is the best at the Colossus plus blink play. And this is just... When you have a best build, it's really hard to basically change your mind and start using different stuff just because you're so good at it. It's not only that he's the best at this build, it's also that it's his best build by far, in my opinion.
It is.
But then again, he showed us he can use different play and pull it off quite successfully. But now against Polt, would it be enough if he went for something like some blink play?
Well, let us also remember here that between these two players, the winner gets a spot guaranteed at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. A spot with the other 15 players to compete for $100,000 as first place. That's a big deal. They've already bagged themselves a good chunk of prize pool when it comes to this tournament, and already a nice chunk of WCS points. But if you, in the grand scheme of the Intel Extreme Masters, that Katowice position, participating in that tournament alone is a fantastic thing. They've already got 2,000 guaranteed here. They've already got 375 points guaranteed here. And it's all about that grand final at the very end.
Qualifying for Katowice surely should help in getting some more of those points too. Right?
I think so, probably. I certainly do think so. As it's such a big prize pool that I think it qualifies for a Tier 1 tournament. This is currently Tier 2. The system was changed since 2013, so there was Tier 1s and Tier 2s, the Tier 1 being the biggest one, which was like $25,000 prize pools and up or whatever, or $20,000 and up.
But to be honest, these two players, with their current skill and shape, they probably want more than just points as well.
Oh, yeah.
$100,000, that's points in the bank.
Yeah, it really, I mean, the lineup's fantastic that we already see at Katowice, but with one of these guys added to it, then, oh my god, I mean, we had a fantastic lineup here, but Katowice is going to be amazing. Anyway, let's get into this round of 4 series. It's all about these 2 players, Rain versus Polt. One of them will advance on to the grand final. We have spawning up to the top right-hand corner, our red Protoss. Representing SK Telecom T1, it is Rain. Down to the bottom left, the perfect spawning positions for our first game. Representing CM Storm, it's Polt. All right, man.
Gonna be keeping a very close eye on both players' build order, especially after that initial opener, which I expect is gonna be a Command Center and the Nexus. I wanna see that Robo Forge against the 3 barracks, man.
Yeah.
And on this map, actually, it's gonna be different than what we saw Polt do on Yonsu, where he was taking one Watchtower with the Reaper, the other one with Bioforces. Even though, if he did that, I guess, against Rain, it could be okay, because Rain not really been very aggressive, as mentioned, but it will be, if he gets caught off guard, it will be pretty bad. I actually think that Rain's style versus Polt's here in this series, he might have a bit of an advantage if they were to do their builds.
I think also it's interesting to note here that right now, since we have Barracks opener against Gateway opener, neither players being too risky about like going for a Nexus first, going for a Command Center first, which is very interesting considering how the overarching structure of this best of 5 is going to work. So neither player wants to take too much risk early on. They want to play it as stable as possible.
This is actually I wanted to develop a little bit more, but I saw you really wanted to talk. So, coming back to these 2 players' main builds, Polt gets a lot of Bioforces on 3 barracks. I think mostly because he wants to be able to hold comfortably against Oracles, against Blink Stalker play, and all these things. But against Rain, how well would it do? We saw Rain before getting his Colossus on time to be able to defend against lots of Bioforces. So that's why I would give him a slight edge. If Polt was going for this, and didn't do any damage to Rain, you will fall behind because he's taking a little bit later, whereas Rain is taking fairly quickly. He gets the Forge, he gets the Colossus, he gets the Blink very quickly. So it's going to be a bit weird and awkward if they go for it at the same time, because Rain's build is really designed to defend a standard build where the opponent gets Medivacs and start dropping from very early on 2 bases while taking a 3rd. Whereas Polt's build is designed to counter the more standard Protoss play when you to go for the Blink Stalkers and all that. So this could get weird here, and we might find ourselves in situations we've never been in before, which I'm most looking forward to.
Well, we have the React being added on that Barracks, and you know, the one thing that's very evident about Rain's style in general is that Polt is really not anticipating something like Hero did on this map against Innovation, for example, which is that proxy pylon everywhere elsewhere with the Twilight Council that we've seen quite a few times now in recent history, not only at Sao Paulo, but also through the qualifiers into Katowice, and now here at this tournament as well. So there's certainly a lot of options open to Protoss, but Rain, stable as ever, going straight to his build. I'm waiting for that Forge and Robo, waiting for it.
And I really like the way he gets the 3 Stalkers. I mentioned that before. That's definitely going to help against what Polt might do too, with getting in a lot of Marines and try to pressure. Possibly, you see he's getting a 2nd Stalker already, just as the first one finished. And there goes the Robo.
Yay!
As we Polt's mixing it up. Ooh. And this is, I think, I like it.
What?
You know, I just mentioned that if Polt did his regular build here against Rain, I thought he'd be behind, just because the way everything will turn out.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I'm just theory crafting here a little bit, so bear with me. If you get a lot of Bioforces and your opponent gets a quick Colossus, you're going to be in trouble. It's just not going to be good for you. You're not going to be able to make anything happen. Now, getting the quick factory here, this could mean a number of things, but we've seen Rain before able to defend very, very well against a very quick Widowmine drop. So I expect nothing else here but good defense from him if this was to happen again.
And if you're just tuning in now here for the round of 4, guys, Polt all tournament long has had to go up against Protoss, and every single game it's been 3 Barracks opener, certainly not to the factory early. So this is certainly that deviation up that you are meant